Hello, my name is Connor Hayes, and this is the video portion of the Game Review 2 assignment for CS-4173 Video Game Development. This review is for the game Honkai Impact 3rd, which was developed by MiHoYo and is available for iOS, Android, and Windows. Honkai Impact is a third-person action RPG type gacha game where the player can collect different characters, weapons, and buffs to play in a variety of different game modes. Most of the game modes have a simple beat-em-up style of gameplay at the macro level, but individually, the game modes provide unique methods for players to enjoy their time playing. Staple to the gacha game genre, players have three main currencies they use: a play-limiting resource in the form of stamina, a common currency in the form of coins, and a premium currency in the form of crystals. Stamina is used when a player enters a stage for some specific game modes, has a maximum capacity that increases over time as the user levels up, regenerates over time, and can be bought using the premium currency. Somewhat unique to Honkai are the game modes where players can play the game without spending stamina. These modes are mostly limited to boss encounter type game modes where the player can only earn rewards for the first time they play and will be able to play again for a better score to compete with others. These game modes incentivize players to continue playing the game and improve their Valkyries and equipment to get better scores. Players will need to spend coins as well as other resources in order to improve the equipment and characters they already have. These resources can be gathered through playing game modes that require stamina, or through purchasing them using other forms of currency. The most prominent and important of which being crystals. Crystals can be used in the lottery-type gachas to get new characters, equipment, and upgrade materials, but are very rare and can only be obtained in small quantities by playing game modes that require stamina, or can be obtained through microtransactions. The game is free to download, but playing the game is in a free-to-play manner requires a lot of time and dedication if you want to upgrade your characters as much as possible. Paying money to obtain crystals can net you a considerable amount of crystals in a short time, which can be good if you need them for a time-limited event, but can become staggeringly expensive if you're attempting to upgrade your characters to their maximum levels. The highest exchange rate on crystals is at 560 crystals per dollar for buying a $5 card that entitles them to 60 gems per day with a bonus of 500 gems every 15 days. But this deal comes at the cost of time, where the player will need to log in every day for 30 days in a row to get the full reward. Missing even a single day will cause the exchange rate to drop to 448 crystals per dollar, which is a steep drop, but in comparison to the next closest drop rate, it's quite shallow. That next closest drop rate is at 82.88 crystals per dollar and costs $100 to buy. This rate is appallingly low, but the player receives all of the 8,288 crystals at once, which can be very useful in cases where a character the player wants is available in a gacha pool for a limited time. Given that the time-limited gacha pools, where the most powerful characters appear, cost 280 crystals per pull, each pull actually costs $3.38 per pull when using the fastest method of gaining crystals. This becomes considerably expensive when you know that the chances for getting an S-rank Valkyrie are 1.5%, with a guaranteed drop after 100 pulls, meaning it takes about $223 to get the Valkyrie you want. but it gets even worse when you know that getting the character again after getting her the first time converts her into fragments that can be used to upgrade the character. For example, you get around 70 fragments each time you get an extra S-rank character. For some Valkyries, it takes upwards of 850 fragments to get the character to the max level, meaning you would need the S-rank Valkyrie to drop around 11 times, costing $2,453 to rank up an S-rank Valk to max level. But it gets even worse. S-rank Valks often come with their own specialized equipment, which appear in their own separate gacha pools that cost the same amount to pull from. Other than the gachas, there are a plethora of other shops to spend resources on. The amount of different currencies there are is extensive, and looking at everything and thinking about how to convert different currencies can feel pretty daunting at first due to the sheer amount of menus, but like anything, it becomes more familiar after a while. Also, something to mention is that most, if not all, forms of currency can be converted to from real-world cash, which is different from most other games I know of. To sum up, attempting to be competitive in this game or trying to do things as quickly as possible can get exuberantly expensive. Once the player obtains their preferred Valkyries, they can use them in battle to their heart's content. The main gameplay consists of creating a team of 1 to 3 Valkyries to take on waves of enemies in Bayonetta-type gameplay. Having a strong Valkyrie is very rewarding at this stage, as you'll find that enemies basically melt when you walk toward them. In some cases, that might actually be the case. Each Valkyrie has unique skills they can use to take on enemies in interesting and fun ways. The basic moves that most Valkyries have are Evade, Attack, and an ultimate. Evading is usually a dash that the character can do to dodge enemy attacks. When timed correctly, something special happens called an ultimate evasion, which can cause unique effects such as time being slowed down or your enemies receiving some kind of debuff. Normal attacks are different based on the type of weapon your character wields. The weapon types are as follows: dual pistols, longsword, heavy blade, cannon, scythe, and cross. Most of those are self-explanatory, but the cross weapon is pretty unique to Honkai. It's usually reserved for the support type characters and acts sort of like a boomerang, throwing out a spinning blade and having it come back. Higher level weapons come with special abilities that can be used mid-battle. These attacks, along with the most ultimates, are the only attacks that cost SP, which is generated when battling a monster. Special attacks are unique to each weapon, and ultimate attacks are unique to each Valkyrie. Ultimates can deal some astonishing amounts of damage. One of the stronger Valkyries in the game actually has an ultimate attack that does not cost SP and has a low cooldown. Ultimates and special attacks are accompanied by interesting attack animations and special voice lines. Normal attacks also come with some pretty flashy animations as well, and when paired with the damage numbers that fly out of the enemy when they are hit, the screen could get pretty cluttered very quickly. This can sometimes make it difficult to see when an enemy is preparing for an attack, so you have to be careful and observant to perform well. Valkyries can also be equipped with stigmata to give them special attributes. Some can give bonuses to the whole team as well, so deciding which stigmata to use on what Valkyries is crucial to making a strong team. For example, if you have a Valk in your lineup that you use for something like providing a buff to a stronger character, or you're using a weak Valkyrie that has a strong leader skill, which is a buff that activates based on what Valkyrie you have at the front of your lineup, you might want to consider putting a Stigmata on them that affects the whole team in a small way rather than giving them something that would only affect them in a big way. Since the team building aspect is so prevalent, players must also focus on finding synergies between characters so that they can trigger special attacks that trigger when a character is switched in under certain circumstances. Switching between characters and keeping strong buffs procced is one of the keys to being good. The short-term goal in whatever you're doing is usually defeat the enemy, but the long term is to unlock everything you want and or be the best in score. This can take a very, very long time to accomplish, but MiHoYo does a good job at implementing systems that make the players want to keep coming back, so that they can eventually complete the game. Such as the Sensei system, which pairs the player up with a higher level player that can teach them the basics of the game so that they can both get exclusive rewards. Making friends, being a part of the Armada, and being a part of the community is one of the bigger drawings for the game, in my opinion. Ultimately, I would say that Honkai Impact is a good game. Running around in a wonderfully thought out 3D environment as a cute girl with a large weapon, and beating up random monsters can be engaging when the gameplay gets to its more difficult peaks, and its visuals and sound design are appealing enough to make me want to gamble my way to more cute girls. Thank you for watching my review of Honkai Impact 3rd.